Hello and greetings, citizens, denizens, and otherwise of the internet. I am coming to you with my best girl. I love because I just had like an incident the other day that really sucked and sort of fucked with my PTSD, I guess, and I thought it might help me process it to like make a video about it. So so I was at 7-Eleven the other night just like getting a cider, and there was a guy in front of me who had a dog. The dog was really sweet and was a puppy and was really being a dog, trying to meet everybody and just being fidgety. And also, the guy, I guess his card had been declined, and he was trying to act like he was still asking the cashier about the price of other, jewel pods or whatever it was that he wanted. And he was frustrated, and the dog was trying to talk to other people. The dog was trying to meet other people, and the guy didn't want that to happen. And eventually, he hit the dog. Not hard enough for the dog to register it as a problem. The dog wasn't in pain. It didn't yelp. It didn't cower. But still, I can't keep my mouth shut. And I was just like, dude, don't hit your dog. And the dude, he's like 6 foot something. He's the biggest person in the store at the moment. And he rounds on me and is just like, who the fuck are you? And I'm just a person. He's like, all right, I'll beat your ass. And then it's so funny because, like, that's what he said at first, and then he sort of, like, did an up and down and clocked it and was like, I'll beat your boyfriend's ass. I'll beat your dad's ass. And I was just like, all right, man, that's fine. Because he stopped hitting his dog. That was all that I wanted. So that was fine. And then, as he eventually does find something that he can afford and he's paying, he's like, fuck, I'll take your drinks, I'll drink them. It's like, all right. And I didn't notice while I was checking out that he didn't leave. So when I went to leave, he got in the way and stood in the doorway and was like, give me those drinks. And I was just like, excuse me? And he got out of my way, which was cool. And I kept it down. I held it down the whole time. Because I know how important it is not to show fear in confrontation when it's somebody who might be really upset. Anyway, but he was still yelling at me, like, fucking, he said, don't you dare pet my dog, because the dog had come up to me and I had pet the dog. But anyway, that just was a really shitty experience, because the cashier didn't say anything, and there were other people in the shop and they didn't say anything. Which, I mean, like, fine, don't say anything because a guy is yelling at me and threatening me or whatever, but like it would have been cool if somebody else had said something about him hitting his dog. But he was a threatening presence, and he was obviously upset in the first place. But I talked to my therapist about it today, and I think that I'm on the other side of it, because like I definitely didn't feel as safe, like just going out and doing stuff sorry, sweetie, after that. Yeah, it just sort of fucked with me. But I wasn't, in the moment, I wasn't afraid. Like, I had it in my mind, like, this is all being recorded. There are people here. And also, just like this, I really take advantage of the fact that most men won't hit me, because to them I am a woman. And knowing that, I definitely say shit that would have gotten me in trouble physically if I registered as a man. And this is one of those situations. I guess that's it. Oh, good girl. She's been extra clingy lately. I think she picked up on my weird stress. Also, I was invited to and briefly attended a quinceañera for a bird yesterday. It was a little parakeet, I think. No, it wasn't a parrot. It looked like a cockatiel. I met the bird. I brought some strawberries for the bird. And that's a neighbor of mine who's really artistic and really crafty, who I'm hoping to make friends with, so that's cool. I'm trying to not to isolate in response to this, because it did make me feel unsafe. Just like, I was glad that, my mom was giving me a ride, and she was, there in the car for me to go to immediately while this guy was still yelling at me. And I was worried about, like, encountering him again. But that's kind of silly, just given this guy was, I think he was on something, if not drunk. And, he got so mad because I was obviously in the right. Like, you shouldn't hit your dog. And if you need that to be pointed out to you, that says something about you. Anyway, my dog is very happy. And that's all that matters to me. Orders have dropped off a little bit. I did submit 3 poems to the New Yorker. Not even encouraged by my poetry instructor. Because apparently when I told him, he was like, I haven't even submitted to the New Yorker. And he's published and taught poetry at Harvard, so I felt a little silly. And I still do. But, I don't know. I do think that my poems are good. And after, I get confirmation that the New Yorker won't publish them, then I will be submitting them elsewhere. And I guess since one of them is really, really short, I will share it. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the parable of Abraham and Isaac from the first Old Testament. The story is God said to Abraham, sacrifice your only son to me. And Abraham was going to do it, brought the son to this mountaintop and made an altar and was literally about to sacrifice his kid, and God was like, ha, lol, never mind. I just wanted to know that you would do it. Which is just such an abuse tactic. Anyway, but I've always been so surprised that there's very little written from Isaac's perspective. And Isaac's perspective has always fascinated me, just like whether Abraham in the narrative is like schizophrenic, or there is this omnipresent God who felt it necessary to toy with Isaac's life like that. Anyway, the poem is called Isaac Descending Mount Sinai, which was the mountain where he was going to be sacrificed. I guess I should be grateful for the ram, God's manufactured mercy, but for the life of me I cannot say I am, whatever that is worth. This isn't love, but love perversed. I don't feel grateful, I feel cursed. And I'd forgotten about that poem. It was just in the because I've always wanted to write something from the perspective of Isaac. And I was just rereading some old journals, and I found it, and I was like, oh, this is good. Also made some new earrings. They're these ceramic, I'm so in love with these ceramic ammonite beads. And some coyote teeth. So Witterson's Goods on Etsy.com if you're interested in those. Just made another round of fuck around, find out, return to sender protection bottles. This is a recent Protect Your Peace bottle. It's been helping. And yeah, I guess that's it. Hey, say goodbye to the people. Watch this, you're gonna get... Hey, you ready to go? Ready to go? See y'all later.